to use the action class and also using weights and also browser configuration and other things. Then we moved on so the recording has started now. We moved on to installing Chrome driver, WebDriver, and Chrome driver support on the system. And we did start with the framework. Um, Actually, we didn't start. We continue with what we have by creating the WebDriver object. And I give an example that the WebDriver itself is an interface. The interface is a type of class, but it doesn't have implementation. So it has some special methods that you can use already configured for you to use, but you can create your own interface as well. But we are using the Selenium, the third-party library, to do it. So we created what we call the webhooks or the hooks folder. Then we created a special class called webhooks from Selenium, and it gave us a template. And in that template, what we needed to do was to initialize the Chrome driver. 1 second, let me see if I can share screen.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kwame.
Yeah.
Did the class just start? Because we lunch was supposed to start 1 p.m. But we can see it's running for 37 minutes already.
Is it? I think maybe the meeting was the time that was set was not changed on Teams, but on the Telegram they posted that the time has changed to 1 p.m. because I told the coordinator I wanted to start 12:30, but I was driving on the way. So I told him to change it due to traffic to 1 p.m. So we just started about 2 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
So
Yeah.
forget about if it was starting earlier, but the recording just started
Okay.
about 2 minutes ago.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm sharing my screen. Can you all see?
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Okay. What was the last project I was doing? This one.
The screen is blank
Yeah.
for me. I can't see anything.
It's blank for you.
Yeah.
One
It's just
second, let
white.
me What about everyone?
Yeah,
We
we
can
can
see
see.
your
I
screen.
think you just have the white background, and why some have the black background. But we can see.
So can you see my Visual Studio open?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes. Okay. Let me. I'll just join. Leave and then rejoin.
Okay. Yeah, so we look at this webhooks folder, and I said this webhook class is a special class. You can create one yourself, but this is a template from SpecFlow that we use to control events that happens. So because you want to run your test, there are certain things that sometimes you want it to happen before you run your test, like preparing your preparation you need to do to run the test, and that include opening Chrome, then navigating to the URL, maximizing the screen, maximizing the screen, and doing other things that you want to do before you run your test. And the after scenario or another event that you can do after the test is to close down the browser, maybe clear cookies, cache, and all those things. So those events, we call them hooks, okay? And the hooks we can set up before feature to happen or before scenario. But by far, most places they will use before scenario because before scenario happen just after the test, okay? But some people will do it before feature. If you do it before feature, once it runs before the feature, it will run all the tests. So if you have 5 tests, I mentioned that it will run all the 5 tests, then it will go to after feature, then it will close the driver. But because we want to run each individual test to see what happens, we are putting it before feature. So if you create the webhooks, I told you it will have um, some templates in there with some methods. And I took time to explain some basics of C sharp because I'll be using those keywords to describe what we are doing for you to understand. So I create fields, properties, and constructors and other things just for you to know what I'm doing and understand it when I'm using those keywords. So what we did in line 9, the first thing you have to do is to declare your driver object. Okay, so we declared the driver object, and I said there are 2 ways of doing it. You can do it in a straight line, okay, but because we are building a bigger project, we just declare it, but we didn't instantiate it on the same line. We instantiated it on line 16 with Chrome driver. Okay. And I told you the Chrome driver, there is this curly braces, open and close curly braces. If you do it that way, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But since 2019 Visual Studio, some people have issues that sometimes the Chrome driver will not open because of that. Even if you add the the drive which the Chrome driver reside, okay, sometimes it will not pick it up because in old school way, we used to do is that you import the Chrome driver files, Firefox files, and you put it in a particular folder or file and you point to it. But these days, when you download the Chrome driver from NuGet packages, it counts part of the Selenium. So over here, there's this code here that it works well no matter how many times you run your automation. It will just point to that particular location where the Chrome driver resides. So when you initialize Chrome driver, what it will do is that it will open Chrome for you. And once it opens Chrome, it will open it in a 70% window screen. But it's up to you to maximize the screen. But we said that this web driver, although it contains so many special methods, you can't use it on its own. You have to create what we call driver objects. Okay. And this driver object, you can name it web driver. You can even call it Kwame or whatever. You can call it any name. But because you are working in a team and you want to be more professional, the name most people will use is web driver or driver. In this case, I'm calling it driver, but I can choose to call it web driver like this. And I just have to change it like that over here, web driver, and it will still work. Okay. And it will still work. You can see all the errors wherever there's driver. I can call it like this and it will still work. But it's up to you, whatever you want to call it, and to use your name. But it just wouldn't look professional. Ideally, what we do is that if you are creating the object, you create it after the name of the class or the interface, but you lower the first letter. Okay, you use lowercase for the first letter, but the class itself will have each of the first letter to be uppercase. Okay, every time you are writing a class, you can see Chrome driver start with capital C, driver start with capital D. With classes, after scenario, classes and methods, each in C sharp. Other languages is a bit different. In methods, well, you start each word with a capital letter if it's a if it's a method or it's an interface or it's a class. But if it's a field, objects, properties, you have to start the first letter with a lowercase. So we ran this and it did work for us. The other thing I did was that I put okay, because I've removed WebDriver from here, it's telling me there's error. Let me remove WebDriver. The other thing we did was to put the URL after the screen maximize. But I told you this time you can see that I've copied the URL from there. I'll remove it. And I told you that how the business analyst write the story, you may choose not to put the URL here. Okay. If you because they will write the story. I don't know your Azure board, some of the stories there, but this session I'm going to ask someone to give us one of their um, test whatever feature files that you have, whether it's prep major or whatever. We use that as an example. If you, because they will write to you that given that I'm on prep major, please if you can mute yourself. If I'm on prep major and they might give you the URL for prep major, that means maybe the dev URL or the test URL that you are using. That means that particular line of code, if you go to the feature file, where's the feature file? If you go to the feature file, this is where you have to tell Selenium that it should use that URL. In that instance, you don't have to put the URL in the hooks folder and it will still work. So what we are going to do is that we're going to create a feature file based on some of the stories that we have, because I want to see by the end of the week some of you practicing with your scenarios that you have on your sprints. I don't know any of the scenarios at the moment, but if someone can so let's say I'm going to create a new feature file. I'll have to go to features on the Solution Explorer, features, you highlight it, you right click, you go to new item, you select spec flow. At the top, you see feature file for spec flow. Because it's already highlighted, I can see here in that names field that is feature one dot feature. Over here, you write the feature, if it's a sign up feature, if it's a footer feature or whatever, you write the same without gaps. Don't leave gap in it. Okay. So if someone can give me one of the files that you have,
sign up.
some of the stores, sign up, right? Sign up. So sign up feature. So this is the template is giving us, and you can see at the top feature semicolon or a colon, then sign up. It says right here a short summary of the sign up. I don't know what the summary is, because sometimes they will give you a summary as a user. I want to maybe register.
Sorry, it shows an error message the other time. Does it mean it's negligible? We don't need to reckon with it.
Sorry?
It shows an error message when you are trying to, or you put on sign up user official. I want to neglect it.
Yes, it usually shouldn't show an error message. It shouldn't be a problem. But
Okay.
I can see it's here. It's
Yeah,
highlighted
okay.
here. Yes, but I can't see the arrow next to it. But let me finish and save it. As a user, I want to register. Which sign up are you guys doing? Is it long reach or prep major? I need someone to help me.
Prep major.
Okay.
Prep major.
so that I can join internship or something like that, or select courses.
As a new user of Prep Major, do you want me to give you
that? That's fine. Okay. This you don't have to type it. Okay, whatever is in your Azure DevOps description for the feature, you just copy it and paste it there. Okay. The scenario is likely some business analysts will give you scenario, some may not give you, but the scenario are like your test case. Okay, so whatever test case, so far I haven't seen any of you guys your Azure boards, so I can't see the test case, but I'm going to allow someone to share their screen. Anyone from maybe Prep Major or Longbridge, if you can share your screen. I want to know which scenario name you have chosen and which steps you have for your Gherkin syntax. Okay, or if you can share that in the Telegram Teams right now. Okay. Please, when you join, can you mute yourself? I can't do all that. I can't mute.
Samuel, can you please mute?
It's important you do mute yourself when you join meetings. Check the background if it's on, the audio is on or off. We are learning, but I want to see yourself as professionals in a sense that you are going to work in companies that are going to pay you 40,000, 60,000. You don't want to just join meetings, then there's a fighting or something, or YouTube, something playing in the background when managers are on call. So let's get in the practice where every time you join meeting, immediately mute yourself until you want to talk, you raise your hand or something, or maybe you prompt. But if you join the call, always, please, because I've seen people who have run into problems based on that. And I think we've been saying that from the beginning of the training and throughout the internship, but I see people doing that all the time. And it's also not good for the recording, because if you're watching again and you can hear shouts at the background, it's not nice. Yes, so given I'm a new user, okay, yes, copy that scenario. So the name of the scenario is what? Successful registration, user successful registration. Okay, so you can put it as user successful registration, or can say verify user successful registration. Let me see your test case. Is there any test case? I can see test case on the right hand corner. You go back, I'll show you. So where it says related work, yes. Okay. So whatever you've written here, okay, because sometimes the business analyst will give you only 2 scenarios, but it doesn't mean that only those 2 scenarios should be those test cases you have to write. They won't have the time or the ability to think in other scenarios, okay? But give you as this is the minimum acceptance criteria that we have. But it's up to you to think other scenarios that you think it will not be suitable, or it will be more suitable for the user. So based on that, you write your test cases. So all the steps here is what you are going to automate. Okay, you are going to automate, giving user can navigate to test.rate icons, episode or something like that. I can't see that. So the ones in the action bit, that is what we are going to automate. Also, it's important that you understand this, that although it's easier to read this and manually test it, when you're automating, some of the lines may not make sense. You get it. You can modify it in your framework or in your feature file, because you've written when the user click on the sign up button and user redirect to the sign up page, and user enters an existing email address, and user click agreement box, sign up, you agree to the terms of use and condition. The reason why I said sometimes you can modify your step is that in most cases, you are giving the story before the developer even creates that particular feature. But you are supposed to write your test cases. You are writing your test cases based on this acceptance criteria, and you are imagining what it will look like, what it will be like. You get it? So sometimes you will notice that you finish writing your test cases, and although the developer hasn't finished, by the time the developer finishes, it may be slightly different the way you will navigate to do the drop down. Maybe you are expecting that he will bring a drop down to select sign in button, but when you got there, it wasn't a drop down. It was just toggle switch on and off, or you use radio button or something like that. You get what I mean? There'll be slight differences in it. Some people have raised their hands. I don't know. This session will do it more interactive. So if you have anything to say, I can see Anselm and someone else hand is up. So the first line, which is giving user can navigate to test rate icon, we are going to automate that one. Okay, at least the first line and the second line for the day, and you guys can continue with the rest. On Wednesday or something, we'll catch up again. So copy the first line and just put in the chat, then I will pick it up from there. Let me see if I can get the chat. Yes. For some reason, I can't see chat over here. Once again, let me see. I'm not seeing chat. I'm not seeing the chat in my Teams screen. Can you put in Telegram for me? Let me see if I can get it from QA Guild, especially the URL, because we have to navigate to that URL that you just shared with us. Hello?
Isn't Kiwi good already?
Have you put on Telegram chat?
Yes,
Yes,
Telegram
yes, yes.
chat.
Okay,
Kiwi
one
Guild.
second. Let me. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen again.
Can I stop sharing?
Yes.
Okay, let me stop sharing.
I'm sharing my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, we can.
This should show the C. It should show the sign up C class file. Each of them have a C class file. This one is not showing. The one I just created. Let me do. Meeting. Features, add new item, spec flow. Register feature. For some reason, the register feature is not. Okay, let me use the calculator feature. I'm going to rename the calculator feature as sign up. Rename F2. And I'll call it sign up. Because I'm expecting to see the feature file and direct the C class binding for it, but I'm not seeing it. So I've changed the calculator feature and I'm going to use this one. And the scenario was what? Successful registration.
Yes.
Successful registration. Okay. The rest of them, we don't need it, but you can put those lines. We're just going to automate this one. Because this is a data, okay? This is part of the BDD we learned, was it last 2 weeks or something? Because this is a data, an actual data, you can parameterize it by putting it into double quotes. So if you put it in double quotes, what will happen is that it will pick this actual data when you are writing the test in the method that it will generate for you in SpecFlow. You will notice that if you go to calculator definition, because it says the first number is 70 and the second number is 50, it has parameterized this bit and has given us in this method over here is giving us int number, because it's expecting that actual value you wrote in the sentence. So when you are doing data-driven testing, one way of doing it is to put the actual value or data in the scenario file or feature, the particular line. Another way of doing it also is to, let me go back. But we're going to try all those scenarios. Let me go back to sign up feature. Another way of doing it is you can put an arrow next to this and an arrow next to it, but you won't put the actual data here. If you do it this way, we call it scenarios with examples, scenario outline. You have to rename this. You can see as I rename this, the error is gone. But this time I don't have to put this actual value in here. I have to put the parameter that I want to use. Okay, so I can put URL here, and I have to create an example table here. Then under it, you hold the shift key. When you hold the shift key, next to the shift key on your right, there is a backslash and a straight line, which we call pipe. You hold it, the shift key and the first key on your right. Draw that straight line called pipe, and you put the URL here. Then you hold the shift key and do the same thing. Then you close it. Then you come back one line again. This time I'll put the actual value of the data. If you do a BDD scenario this way, you do it based on when you have to run multiple test data. Okay, the first one I show you, it will just run it as a single data, but you can do it like this, telling you that I want to run this other examples. So if I have other examples that I want to run for the same, maybe you want to check how 2 people will register for a valid scenario. So that is your test data. Okay, so we want to put another this is not suitable for URL because the URL will just be only one. But situation where you have to put first name is Kwame, second name is Enim, and maybe first name is Mr. Olu, then the surname is this. So you want to run to scenario, you can do another pipe like this, and you can put but the title will be first name. You get it. So we call it scenario with example. The third one that we also use in BDD, some people you see in, they will call it table. In the table, let's imagine this is our second step. Okay. In the table, what they will do is that they'll, instead of providing examples at the bottom here, they will do the same thing, but they put the data in between. So they are saying only this line, run it based on the examples I give you. But with scenario line, it will run the whole test once. If I add another URL here, if I add another URL and I say BBC maybe .co or .uk, then I do this, then I run, I do prep major. If I use scenario align and I give an examples like this, it will run the test 3 times because I've given it 3 types of test data that it needs to run with. You get it? But if I use the table is only good when you want to run a particular scenario twice, a particular step twice, okay, using different sort of data. That way you can put the same data here, then you can type maybe URL, and at the bottom you can put maybe, oh no, let me make a name. First name, and I put maybe Kwame there, and I can put second name, I can put maybe I want to use Olu. Then maybe I want to put last name or surname. Then I can put maybe, and here I can put, but you won't name it scenario outline. In this, you just name it scenario. In this particular one, you won't name it scenario outline. And you don't need to parameterize this one. Sorry, can everybody hear me?
No, were you saying so? We could not hear what you were saying earlier on.
Yeah, I just felt my internet was gone. Yes. What I was saying is that in BDD, when you are creating feature file and you want to do data-driven testing, there are three ways of doing it. The first way is where you put the actual data in a single line. Okay. So let me put first name.
Please, we can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen.
Yes.
We
One
can
second,
see.
Ray.
Oh, we can see.
We can see the
Yeah,
screen.
we can see the screen.
Yeah, I think the whole team said they can see that. Yes, so the first one, you can just put it directly in there for it to take. The second time, you can use scenario with outline, which will give you example at the bottom that will run the test twice. But there are times, I don't know why this one is not giving me the, it's showing regular lines. But the third one, where you use table, sometimes there are particular step that you want it to run twice for it to do something before you go to the next steps. You put the table in between those features, those steps. Okay, so those are the three ways. Apart from that, too, oh sorry, let me put it back. There's one thing about BDD that if this URL, that we put in there, we are going to use it so many times, you can come here before the scenario and put what we call background. The background, you put that particular given statement in there. So given, I navigate to where is the one second. You can do something like this, because before this test round, maybe they have 5 types of tests, but all that 5 types of tests will use one particular step all the time. if they are going to use a particular step all the time, you can isolate it as background. But sometimes it can be dangerous the way you do it, because if if most times I wouldn't use a background, but it can be very helpful as well as a way of shortcut to do some of the things. But if you don't do it well, it can also create issues. So what it's going to do is that if I have multiple scenarios, let's say let me create another scenario here. Let's start giving this time. Let's make this one giving and I enter maybe first name. If I have multiple scenario, okay, maybe I have this first scenario, I have second scenario, and all of them will use this URL. Okay, I can, instead of every time putting the URL, I have to check why this is giving me this curly lines. Instead of you repeating yourself all the time, before this scenario runs, just like the hooks, when we're learning hooks, this particular step will happen. And then it will do the test run for line 12, 14 and 15. When it finishes, it will pick up this URL again. Okay, then it will continue line 20 and line 21. You get it? So part of the explanation of the BDD I wanted to explain, which need physical example. Now we are going to write our first test. Later on, we'll try with the background. So let's write this is our given URL. Successful registration. Okay, scenario. He's saying that it was expecting. I may have deleted something.
Sorry, I can't see any screen.
You can't see it on the screen.
Yeah, are you sharing something?
I'm sharing.
Oh, we can.
No, I can see it.
We can see it.
If you
Yeah,
can't see it, you have to log in and log back in. It happened to me as well. So just log back in.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
So now we're coming back to the writing the proper test. When you're writing the test, always try to implement on the coding side one step at a time before you move on to the next step. Although you can generate all the step definition. So if I have another step definition that says, and I select or click on sign up, the BA will not put in the codes for you, but I said because it's the exact data you are going to use, you can put it this way, or you can do the other ways that I showed you in the background. You can call this URL, but we're going to do it. So in order to generate a step definition for this, let's delete this calculator step definition, because it is going to throw error into it, because we don't need it. Now we are calling a login feature. So we are doing it based on sign up. The tag are the execution, the way you want to execute your test. If you want to call it smoke test, okay, or smoke regression, you can put as, or if you want to call it end-to-end regression, you can do E to E. You have to do the @ sign again, and you can do multiple tags on one scenario, okay. End-to-end regression. Or it's also a sign up regression. Maybe you have a lot to do with login, so sign up, you can call it. So you can have multiple regression. If I build code, it will show in the traits over here all the tags that I've used. So if you want to execute all the smoke tests or end-to-end regression, when the person sign up, when the person select a course, when a whole journey of all the tests, you can choose your all end-to-end. Now we are going to generate step definition for this. When you right click on the purple steps given and it will ask you generate define steps. Okay, you can use the shortcut Control plus B plus D, but most people would use the drop down, then click define step. Now we'll tell you that it's going to generate SpecFlow is going to generate this simple line into a C# code for you that you have to put in your code. Okay, so instead of you writing this given as a user, I can navigate to that website. It's saying that I'm going to create that same given for you as a method. And I told you method is where we put in our code for it to execute for us. So it's saying that I can see 2 lines of statements in Gherkin syntax. I'm going to do it for you. And here we have the login step definition. It will ask you, do you want to copy this to clipboard? Okay. Clipboard is this. Microsoft have built clipboard. This thing, all the things I've been copying, you can see there's a clipboard here. If you do copy to clipboard, it will copy it. You won't see it physically, but it has copied it to a clipboard. And you can go to that particular file if you already created it. So the clipboard is normally good when that step you are trying to define, you've done it, but it's not right. Maybe you want to change it, the test data and other sentences. Instead of saying it should generate like this into a new class, you don't want to create a new class. Okay, so you do the clipboard. But if it's the first time, just choose create. So because we don't have over here in the step definition, we have create. So it's created for us these 2 steps for us. So the same step we saw in our feature file, as a sign up feature here, is created. Now you can see it doesn't look light purple. It's in bold or black ink. You get it. And that particular data that we need to use, that exact data that we need to use, is in red. That is telling SpecFlow that this particular is a data, use it as a parameter. So if you go back to login, is it login? Yeah, login step definition. You see over here, it's saying string P0. It's saying P0 because if I had multiple steps that had data in it, the first parameter, it will count it as 0. In programming, they start counting with 0 before 1. So instead of counting from 1, they will count 0 as a value because it
Yes.
it actually has like a footprint. So
But you mentioned all those stuff.
please mute yourself. I keep saying this. So you go to interview and you'll be surprised. So it's giving us the first parameter as P0. Now, this is where we have to write our test, line 12 and line 18. This is where we have to write our test. But we can write the test directly from here and do it. But I told you that it won't look nice because if you have a website that keeps growing and they have so many pages, it's better to do it in the page object way. So what you do is that you create another class where you call it page object. Then select all the elements from there and you put it to the steps. So last time we created a folder called page object. To create the folder, you go to right click on automation. You go to add new folder. Okay, but we've done it already, so we have it here. So I'm going to create a class in here. And that class, because sign up is on the first page, we call it landing page. Or some will call it home page or welcome page. Each of them is fine, but most times programmers will call it landing page or home page. So let's call it maybe landing page or home page. But subsequent pages will have maybe about us page or policy page and other pages or courses page. So you will name it based on the page. But login and other things are on the landing page. So if you go to that website you gave me, what's the website name? You let me call it landing page because of time. You can change it later. Landing is a word, so I started landing with capital L. Page is a word, so I'm starting page with capital because it's going to be a class, and it's better you name a class each word starting with uppercase. Then you go to add. So over here in this box, you see a new class will be created for us. Because we are using .NET 6, I told you that it will show internal class. Okay, so we don't need it to be internal class. We'll call it public class. We're calling public because we will need this particular class in our over here. We will need a class in this particular line here. Here, we will need the page object of that class in this particular line. So far we've done this, but we haven't finished with this. We are going to write all the background stuff that we need in that class. Then we are going to call them here. So we go back to for now we don't need this one. Let me save this. Save all and save it. We go to our webhooks. Our webhooks, notice we have driver here. And we declared the driver. So in our landing page class, we are going to do the same thing over here. We're going to declare WebDriver. Then we create a constructor, because although we've created an we've declared the iWebDriver. iWebDriver, this is the object. We want to use the object in the constructor so that we can call all the members of this object. Okay. So to create the constructor, I said the constructor should have the same name as the class. It's a method that has the same name as a class. To do it, you can write CTOR. Okay. If not, you have to type it public landing page, then you do it. You can do it this way, public. Oh, sorry. Public landing page. Then like this. So this way we've done the constructor, or the other way you can do is CTOR, just quick, then you do double tap. It will do the same thing for you as well. Now, this object driver, we need it. Then we assign it to this class. Where is it? Webhooks. This webhooks class. This is a class starts with webhooks. This class. We need that class. Web hooks, because that's where we initialize Chrome driver. So we go back to landing page class. Then we put it here. Then we call that driver again here. So now it's happy. We have used constructor to bring that object of WebDriver in our hooks here. Okay, we brought it here. And once you do this for each page, you are happy. Most of your work is easy. So let me save this and let me close this one. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to close the oh, sorry. You can see I'm toggling between the tabs. I'm doing it for a purpose so that it will be easier for you to understand. Our feature file is in this, right? Our step definition is in the next tab. Our landing page is here. Our webhooks is here. We started with the webhooks and we did this. Then we went to feature file. Then we put in that feature file. Then we generated step definition over here. Then we created a landing page. Okay. Now, all we will be doing most times will be between landing page class and the login step definition class. That is where you'll be doing most of your tests. The feature file is I want to add another feature here, another step. Then I come here and I just run it, or I want to make some changes. But if not, you will not need it. So once you know this basic, everything is repetition. Everything is repetition. So it makes automation very sweet. It's just getting the foundation very right. So now we are going to create iWeb elements. This driver from the webhooks is going to give us the ability to select things from the website. Okay, so there are two ways of doing it. I can't even remember the other way, but let's see. We are going to create special variables using iWeb elements. You know, this is iWeb driver. Another one called iWeb elements. The iWeb element helps Selenium to select those elements from the website I showed the 2 weeks ago. So you do private iWeb element. We select the second one. What should I call it? Let's say we're going to call it sign up. When you are creating the variable, the first letter should be small letter, okay, or lowercase, but the next one should be uppercase. But the variables should describe what element it is. Although it's a sign up, the sign up is a button, okay, but some people will leave it as a sign up. But it's better you describe it that way. Then you do call to an arrow. This we call the lambda expression. Driver dot find element. If I put F here, find element. We said we want this driver, this iWeb element. It can help us to find elements on the website. So the find element is a method, but that method has a special class. And in that class, we have other members of that class that helps us to select. So we have name, link text, partial link text, CSS. Somebody will take the class again and explain all those things for you, but we just want to see how our website will navigate. So I don't know which one I'm going to do. So at this point, what you do is that you go to the website. Let me see if I can do that. And create another tab. So this is the sign up button. You right click the sign up button, and there's an integrated tool I use now, but don't use it. Learn how to do it properly, and someone will go into it to show you how to do those things. But just for the easy sake, I'll just use this one and just do it. But you have a class on how to do the selectors. So I use CSS selector. Oh, sorry, CSS selector. This doesn't look right. The CSS selector. Let me go to the website one again. Because usually it should have a name or something. We go to inspect. And sometimes it will have ID name. I can't see ID name. This is what selected. So you go to sign up, copy, and then CSS selector. there's a way you can trim this as well, to check whether it's right. So let me check it's right, because sometimes you can copy, but it can give you issues. So you do Control F and you paste it there. It says 1 of 1. Okay. When it says 1 of 1 in this box, okay, you do Control F, it will give you this box. Then you paste in that particular CSS. But even still, this you can trim it. If you use the other one, which is expert copy, expert copy expert, you can also paste that one. Yeah, the expert is for this one, but let's try the CSS selector. So this is just to click the button, but our first step is saying that we should navigate to the URL. So we want to write a method that says navigate to URL. Then we'll write another method that says it should select this sign up button. So we want to write public void navigate to URL, open and close. Then we can say the line 20. There's another way of doing it. This some may do another class and they can put the actions here. They can put the driver here instead of declaring. So they will only declare only the variables here, and do it that way. So I don't want to put this driver in here. Navigate. Dot go to URL. This is demanding the URL that was here, but we've put the actual URL here instead of putting it in the other way, because this is a better way of I told you doing it rather than in the page object, so that when you are making changes, you don't have to go everywhere. But because we've put the actual URL in here, we have to write or define the parameter. And in our step definition, it defined the parameter as string PO. You can see here string PO. But the PO is a way I told you step definition will give you. It will parameterize it by parameter 0, parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, but it's not understandable to a lot of people. So the better way is that you can write it the actual name, because if you want to say parameter P1, people don't know his first name or last name you are talking about. But if you keep actual name like this, it's much better. But because we've now changed it to URL, we have to go to our landing page class and we put URL here. And we put URL in here. Oh, no. I have to write string URL first. String URL. So what it will do is that once I navigate to URL in our step definition, there's URL here. It is going to pull that information from our feature file, this feature file, the exact name, and we'll go to the website. So let me save it again. If you haven't saved your work, you see a small star. So whilst you are doing it, you keep saving your work. Visual Studio doesn't save it automatically for you. So now we've defined our first step in the landing page class here, the method. Although we can go on and do the second one, which is this one, public void. But let's try the first one work before we come to the second. So we go to login definition because we have to call this method. We have to call this method. So we have to come to login definition and call it. To call this method and be using all the method in your landing page class, you have to create object of the class. Remember, iWebDriver, we created an object called driver, and we are using driver, and driver is giving us navigate, manage, is giving us so many methods. The same way you as the programmer, you can also create methods that gives you all the, you can create objects that gives you all the methods that you also define. So we are going to create an object of this class, landing page class. Then all the method we call public. If we call it private, it will not work. All the method we call it public, we will be able to use it here. So you come to line 8, pay attention. Some people make a lot of mistakes here. You then you always want your objects to be at the top here. Okay. So after the class here, you want to declare your objects. So the name of the class is called landing page class. We need the object of landing page class. So we write landing page class. So it's giving me the class. The class is landing page, is showing green. To create the object, you start this with a lowercase. C# also give you another way to do it. You can use underscore like this. Okay, once you type underscore, it gives you options. So you can do underscore, then you can do landing page. You can choose the first landing page like this. Or you can type L, then it will give you the option. Now, we have declared the object. The object is like the baby of the father, okay, or the son. So we've declared the object with the lowercase l, but we haven't finished. We can either finish it like this by the declaration, then we come here, then we do the instantiation. Okay, we can instantiate like this. Okay, but you don't need to do it that way. Okay, that is another way of doing it, but we do it on the same line. So we do equal to, and use the word new. Immediately use the word new, it gives you the suggestion of the class you have to use. Then open and close. Then you because we have created the declared the object we are going to use, and we have instantiated with the same class by using the new keyword. The new keyword, what it does is that, I don't know if you get in an interview. When objects and variables, they reside in the memory allocation when you're doing programming. Okay. And we have two types of memory, heap memory and stack memory. When you use the keyword, it creates a reference point in the memory location to use all the objects that is referring to. So that's why we use the new keyword. So it's like I'm creating a new reference point. So in case you get it, it's a keyword. Sometimes it can be asked, what are the, can you give me some 50 keywords? Not 50, but maybe 10 keywords in C# or Java. You can use public, class, new, void. You can name up, there are about 50. If you go to Microsoft website, they have all those things there. So we don't need throw exception. Okay, so we've commented it out. Now what I'm going to do is that once I type L on line 10, this lower L, and I hit dot, it will give me all the options that are in this landing page. So the options that were on the landing page class is driver, navigate to URL. And this is the navigate to URL that I want. Then I hit OK. So it's even making it easier. It's saying that navigate URL, it has a parameter URL. Do you want to tap? The old school Visual Studio, it doesn't give you this IntelliSense, and you have to do everything by typing, which makes it, right now they've increased the rate at which we can write code. So I'm now going to write this test. I have a couple of tests that I've written, but we just want to run this particular step and see if it works. So I'm going to build the code. Let me clean because there are some errors in there. Okay, and let's build now. Yeah. So last Wednesday, somebody asked question, how do you run it? And I said, don't, if you have multiple tests, because we are now working on login feature, I don't have to click. If I click on this level, because automation project is highlighted, it's going to run all the 3 tests, but I just want to test this if it's working. So let's highlight login feature. Then we can click on that one. Let me run again and see. So it's going to the website, but it's saying it can't put in the URL in there. So let's check what exception it's giving us. To check the exception, and this is where the real work comes in. And you'll be doing this a lot, but don't worry, it's all part of the coding. So it's telling me that this one has an invalid argument. The invalid argument is the URL. It's not happy with the URL that we use, this one. So you can see from here, it says standard output. Okay, at the top, this is the message it's giving us. OpenQA Selenium WebDriver. This type of exception is called WebDriver argument exception. Okay, that means the URL that it needs to use is not happy with the URL. You can see here, invalid argument. At the same time, it's giving us the same message at the bottom here. It's all part of the learning that we need to know. So let's go back to the URL, which is here on the sign up feature. And let me use another URL I'm happy with. Or if somebody can give me another URL with www or HTTP, okay, that would be great. If you have any of your teams and you can point, if not, I have to use another URL. Okay, let me copy the exact URL as it's there. Even the URL is there. HTTP is there. So we come here, and this is what I was showing about having an argument or parameter. I don't have to go everywhere in the code to change it. I just change it one, and that's it. Okay, now let me save this. Save it here and build it again. Build is successful. I have to clean it, but let me clean it and make sure. You can use rebuild solution. Rebuild will clean it, then it will build it as well. It didn't. Let's run it and see. We are expecting it to open the website. Go to the URL. So he's now happy, he's saying our test has passed. Okay, he's saying our test has passed. It was because it was demanding we have HTTP. So anyone in this group, in Rate Icon, Epelson, if you are doing this, make sure, or everyone, if your URL you are parameterizing that doesn't have HTTP like this, you might have issues. And that is one of the issues. And part of learning coding, you have issues. And you learn faster when you face issues, how you resolve it, how you understand it. So I'll be showing one of the lessons how we do debugging and how to go through step by step to find out what was the problem in order to fix it. So the step of pass, we wanted to click sign in button. All we go is that we do is that we go here, create another method, say public void click. You can see with the method, I'm starting each word with capital. Then I can bring sign up here. Sign up button and click. It's telling me, it's even telling me or suggesting to me what I need to do with that. Okay, then I just click tab. I didn't have to select it. So these days coding with Visual Studio has become less easy because you get suggestion. So you guys will learn faster. But sometimes when it's too easy to, it doesn't help you to think much because it's just giving you all the answers. So but it helps you to code faster. So this time we want it to click when it gets to sign up button. Some will be wondering, why did Kwame put online 22 sign up button? It's because we declared it here. Remember our last lesson, I wrote string name equals to Kwame, and I was able to call it and console.writeLine. I put that parameter in there. The same thing, I've declared the variable here. Okay, so I'm telling this variable sign up button to click, but this sign up button, I've stored this expression in there. Okay, this expression is that when it sees this variable is telling the driver, the Selenium WebDriver, go and find elements, use CSS selector, okay, to find that element called sign up and click it. Okay, you can write it as a long statement and add click at the end. It will work when you don't need a button, when you are doing one page. Okay, but we are organizing our code into a nice way. So we now created in the login definition, we've already created the page object. So we don't have to repeat the same page object because this belongs to that page. So we come here and you go to the line that says given I click on sign up, then we've already declared the objects over there. So all we have to do is now repetition. You bring landing page, you hit dots. It's telling you the first one that click sign up because these days it has a little bit of this chat GTP in it because Microsoft sponsored it. So it's making your work easier. It's giving you all the suggestion. So we are now going to click the sign up button. Let's run the test and see if it's going to do it. So as it's going to run the test, it's going to go to the hooks, do the before, maximize the screen, then put in the URL in our step definition. Once the URL is okay, it's going to click the sign up button. But I didn't click the sign up button. Why? Let's check what was the problem. You can see that when the page was opening, there was this gift rate or prep major thing that was loading. So let's see. He's saying that element click intercepted. Okay, that's a Selenium expression. I have one. I'll see if I can send, but I think it's all to do with. So it doesn't like this CSS element. Okay, it says it intercepted it. So either two ways: either the page was taking too long to load. So before it clicked the sign up button was intercepted. And I said we can just check by putting a little bit of weight in the thread or sleep. but, later we won't use thread or sleep. We are going to use proper Selenium. So we're going to give it 3 seconds, 3,000 seconds, milliseconds, sorry. Let's do it 5,000 milliseconds. So this is the quicker way to tell it to pause threading. Threading is another topic. Okay. The reason why this is not good is that you are telling it that when it's running the code, it should sleep. You don't want the code to sleep. You just want it to wait. When you tell someone go and sleep, you the person can sleep till 5 hours or whatever, because when they are sleeping, they don't know what time. But we have told him to sleep for 5 seconds. Why don't you tell the person wait? Because you need the person. You don't want the person to sleep. You get it. See it from that way. That's why thread or sleep is no. So all the processing that is going to happen, you are telling it to sleep for 5 seconds. But Selenium doesn't enjoy using that, although it can use it and it will work. But if you are going for interview, after you get your job, you can do this. But even if you're using it too much, your colleagues, if they have been coding for years, they might think you don't know what you are doing. So one way we want to solve the issue is that we are putting a little bit of 5-second wait for the page to load. You see the page is trying to load, you see. So we're saying after 5 seconds, you should click on the sign up button. Okay, so we saw that it now click on the sign up button. So the problem was that it needs to wait for that element to appear before selecting that element. You get it? It doesn't really need to sleep. It needs to wait for that element. The disadvantage of using sleep, this is an interview. If you use sleep, at all times, it will wait for that 5 seconds. Even if the element happen within 1 second, it will still wait for 1 second, 5 seconds. Okay. But if you had used the expression call wait, if at any time elements happen so quick and the server is running fast and you put 5 seconds, it won't wait for that 5 seconds. Immediately, it knows that the element appears. It will use that element. It won't wait for the 5 seconds. That is the advantage of using explicit waits. Okay. So if they ask you in interview, explain it that way. But to use it, there's expression here. If you go to Selenium HQ, let's go to Selenium. I have to not this one. I think I'll send this link as well to learn all the no, Selenium Selenium Q. Oh, I said AG, HQ, head, like headquarters. And let's go to documentation. We're going to WebDriver. It has best test practices. Please read about the design strategies and other things that Selenium encourage, things that Selenium doesn't encourage. What we want is WebDriver, okay? Then we go to weights. We've learned about web elements, browser interaction. We are learning about weight, but I'll have a full session, but I want to show you what we need to use. It has example that you can copy the example to do it. So we are using C#. If you are using Java, go to Java. Ours is C#. So you can see that it has let me go a little bit down. Explicit weight. Yes, this is what I want. So to use the weight, right, you can use this code. All we have to do is use this code up to here. You copy this code. And we go to our project. Let's comment out this one. We just have to customize whatever we copied. Oh, it's copied everything for us. We don't need these ones. This is giving you an example of what we need to do. Let me so to do the width is a class, okay, and this is the object of the class. Like we've learned objects, and it is being instantiated with this. But when you instantiate it, you have to put the driver there, okay, the time span. So here we are saying from 10 seconds, okay. That means that it can wait up to a maximum of 10 seconds, but it doesn't have to wait all the time 10 seconds. Immediately that element is available, you should use it. Then we come to first result, web element. In our instance is sign up. So we use sign up. Oh, where's it? Oh, sorry, I've put in the wrong place. I've put this in the wrong place. Even the thread.sleep, I'm not supposed to put in the step definition, although it work. All the dirty work has to go here. All the to work has to go to the page itself. Okay, so not in the login step definition. It has to, because it's giving me underline for me to call the driver here. Okay, but we don't need the driver in the login step. We just need a page object. The driver we are instantiating is already here. So I have to come to this particular class and post this stuff. You can type the code, WebDriver wait. WebDriver, oh, sorry. We'll delay our time, but let me try another time in WebDriver. Okay, we don't need this one. Then we just need to put sign. And we can put this path in there. Okay, whatever is there. So you can either delete this, or you can put everything from here, a copy of it. Sorry, oh, what's this thing doing? Or or you can either delete everything. Oh, sorry. Let me expand this because I want to see the full width and minimize this. Let's do this. Let's find an easy way of doing it. This is CSS. So let's delete from CSS. CSS. And let's copy the URL. This okay. So we are telling it that this time, before it clicks this particular issue, okay, this particular sign up, it should wait for 10 seconds. Okay. Now, if the thing appears within 2 seconds, it will do the same. It will click it rather than using thread or sleep. Thread or sleep, it will wait for exactly 10 seconds and will waste your time. So that's what I wanted to show you. But next time we'll run it. Any question? I'm opening the floor. We can stop the recording now.
Hello, Kwame.
Yes.
Yeah. Just want to check. Will it then be correct to say that basically when you create your feature file, which is your like your story and your scenarios and so on, and then you generate a step definition. So basically the work that you do on the web page itself is done and is stored on the page objects. And then anything that you have to make reference to, you'll make it on the hooks. Is that correct?
Not on the hooks. The hooks, once you set up like this, you don't need it anymore. We can close this. We don't need the hooks. Now everything you'll be doing will be just between this and that step definition. And then occasionally you use the sign up feature if you want to add additional line to it. But everything you do all the elements and all your stuff here, then you call it into your step definition, then you run it. Any other question? I have to run somewhere. What we do is that on Wednesday we will go through it again. I will let someone share their screen this time. From most of the workshop that we'll be doing, I will let somebody share the screen because I think most of the lessons are finished, but I'll just add some few bits, how to do their session and other things. Okay. Any other question?
Sorry, just in addition to that one, sorry, where do we use the test data? Because I noticed that you are you putting all the data into the script itself, but you are not using the test data folder at all.
Yes, you can see on mine I didn't create test data in there because BDD also helps you to do data-driven testing without putting everything in the test data. Okay, so I gave 3 example. We just use one example where it's is on the same step. We use a data in there. The other example is tables. The other example is the scenario outline. But notwithstanding, if you are working in a company where you have large set of data, you can create another data set over here, a folder. Then you can put in the data to pick it, but it will be too complicated and advanced for me to add it. But if you want me to teach, but I can find another way to do it. But for now, use the BDD with the data-driven examples that I've shown. So at least we've used one. Another time we use the table. Another time we use the scenario outline.
Thank you.
Hello, Kwame.
Yes.
Okay, so sorry, just to confirm, with the URL, that means we won't have to always put www dot in URL. Does it really matter?
No, the best way is to go to the website like this. Okay, you go to the website, you copy, you highlight on the address bar, you copy the URL like this. Okay, then you use it. If the URL, this modern website doesn't have the www dots after the slash, we used to have www dots in there, but the standardization from the various schools, most website these days doesn't show the www dots. So if I go to BBC or British Airways right now, some of them will have the www dot, some will not have. So it depends, but the best thing is to go to the URL on the address, pick it exactly like this and use it. That way you won't face issue.
Thank you.
All right. The other thing with the feature file is that you can use a mixture of scenario outline and data like this. So if I'm using scenario outline, I can still parameterize some of the steps, and I can use the outline that once it goes to that play data on the line, and it can run the test twice using different scenarios as well. So you can combine it and do it that way as well. But that means you have to change the title over here to scenario outline. You have to change it into scenario outline. Then you come here and use examples. Then at the moment, I haven't given oh, sorry. I'm going somewhere, so I will be running away from now. Yeah.
Thank you.